Hello, this is Toby the Galactic Intuitive. How is everyone today? Thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate your time, your attention, and your energy and your presence, of course. The message for today is stop efforting. Now, your efforts have not been in vain so far. However, it's time to stop efforting. That's not to say that it's time to stop taking action, but it's to reframe how you take that action and to be exceptionally intentional in the energy behind that action. And I'm hearing some of you saying, we've already talked about this. We have already talked about this, and we are getting ready to go into Mercury retrograde. And so I talked about this a little bit 2 messages ago, I believe. I believe it's been 2 messages ago now. And that was the message that I had to redo multiple times because there was a specific message that wanted to come through from the 9. And so what I didn't talk about, I don't think, was that in this retrograde, first of all, we are already in the pre-shadow for it. Mercury actually goes retrograde officially on November 9th and then goes direct on November 29th. However, we're in the pre-shadow. Right now, Mercury is in Scorpio, but as of October 29th, Mercury will be in Sagittarius. So we're getting a preview of what the retrograde period is going to be like, because during that time, Mercury is going to move it'll start the retrograde in Sagittarius, and then on the 19th of November, it'll move back into Scorpio. So we're getting, a backwards preview of, I don't know why I'm so fidgety today, so I apologize for all the moving around. There's a restlessness that is part of this energy, because I was not fidgety until I started recording. There's a very significant restlessness. And okay, so we're getting a preview. They said a backwards preview. From now until the 29th, again, they're encouraging me to repeat this. From now until the 29th, today is October the 25th. And actually, this began on October the 23rd, I believe. We're in the pre-shadow of the retrograde. However, this is the period of time when Mercury is in the pre-shadow in Scorpio. From the 29th until November 9th, it'll be pre-shadow in Sagittarius. So as of November 9th, then Mercury's in retrograde. It'll stay in retrograde and Sagittarius until November 19th. It'll move back into Scorpio, still in retrograde, until November 29th, when it will go direct. But then we will be in post-shadow until December 17th. So we have almost 2 months of this time frame, of this energy. And the words that came through when I was originally going to talk on this were restructure, renewal. What was the other one? I don't think I have my notes here. I don't. It was in a different notebook. Restructure, renewal, reimbursement, and recognition. But instead of it being recognition in the way that we normally define that word, it was recognition, or to recognize, to recognize something in a new way, or to change the way we interpret a thought pattern is what I'm hearing. Again, this restlessness, I'm having a really hard time sitting still. I'm not doing a very good job of it, obviously, because I've moved around a lot since I started this. And the message about restlessness, there's a disjointedness as well, too, if you haven't noticed so far, that this energy is coming through. It's hard for me to keep it on track. So this is going to be something, I think, especially with Mercury and Sagittarius, it's going to be it will give a sense of restlessness and difficulty staying focused. And Sagittarius is a fire energy, and it's also the explorer, the traveler, the philosopher. And Sagittarius, it can be restless in that regard of seeking out new experiences and new things to learn, new ways of thinking. Yeah, it's very interesting. So keep that in mind in this first part of the retrograde season and in the pre-shadow too. You'll get a sense from the 29th until November 9th of a preview of what your retrograde season for Sagittarius is going to feel like. I'm getting a sense of during that preview period that you will witness something or encounter. You're going to be experiencing something that's going to be coming back around then during the retrograde season. Same for the Scorpio timeframe. Whatever is coming up for you from now until, or from the 21st of October, which is a few days ago, until October 29th, you're going to be reviewing that in the period from November 19th to November 29th. The restlessness. Okay, so the message I received about restlessness, was it yesterday? Let me see. When did I write this? I guess it was on the 22nd that I wrote this. I was feeling a lot of restlessness myself, and it was on the backside of receiving another message and putting some things together and feeling like I was received the information I needed for this project I was working on. And then as that energy was kind of waning, I started feeling this restlessness. But this sense of restlessness was, in what I learned in my reflection, was actually this rising sense of a new creation. And the importance in that was not for me to interpret that restlessness as a sense of dis-ease or discomfort, and not to allow it to direct me in a way that was distraction oriented, but to actually feel into the restlessness as the chaos energy that precedes creation. It's that sense of things kind of whirling and swirling and all jumbled together, these pieces and parts of this new creation that are beginning to be magnetized together, but they have not come into form yet. And so the energy of that is within us when we're in the pre-shadow, the pre-shadow period of a creation. Interesting how they're bringing this together. And oftentimes that restlessness can feel very uncomfortable. But when we look at it as the chaos that precedes a creation, then we allow ourselves to interact with that restlessness in a different way. And that is what opens up the channels to allow the transmutation and the alchemical process of all those different energies coming together so that they may begin to coalesce into form. And that's that sense of the fire energy being that inspiration, but also can be fast moving. And if we are not intentional with it, it can carry us. It's almost as if it pushes us past the point of optimal creation. And so we have to if that happens, we have to pull ourselves back into that that space of where things begin to flow. So when we are sensing the restlessness, to be intentional about it, it allows us to move to that space of flow without just flying past it, because we've got so much fire, inspirational type energy at our back and under our feet. Okay. As usual, that's not where I expected this to go, but we're going with it. Again, this is that same, what I'm experiencing is the same thing I'm talking about. There was the restlessness in my body beforehand. I could feel the building energy. And then when I stepped into the energy and began to flow with it, then it began to move through me, coming into form, coming into the words and the ideas, versus if I had focused on merely the restlessness aspect itself, which could have led me down a distracted path of thinking, why am I fidgeting? Or even worse, attempting to stop the fidget instead of just allowing the energy to move. So labeling, being very conscientious of and aware of how we're labeling these sensations that we're experiencing. I'm looking at my notes here from my journals to see if there's anything else that any other sparks here. So I'll read this quote or this passage I wrote. So when I begin to feel the restlessness, it is a mighty signal of incoming sparks, wanting to be gathered and held to allow for their integration and birthing. And that's it in a nutshell. So going back to Mercury retrograde, this is Mercury in Sagittarius right now. Not right now. Right now, Mercury is in Scorpio. But there is this restlessness that is coming with the Mercury in Sagittarius. And it's maybe more in that pre-shadow period. And then when we move into the actual retrograde, it becomes a I'm getting this image of things beginning to coalesce together, being pulled back apart and then coming together, and pulled back apart and coming back together. That's really interesting. So in regards to the Mercury retrograde, of course, what I just spoke about certainly applies when we're talking about any sort of creative project or anything we are creating ourselves. However, when we're speaking about this particular segment in time for Mercury retrograde, this is speaking of how we interact with this type of energy ourselves. Not really that there is a creation coming during this time. There might be something that comes of it, but most importantly right now, the opportunity, not right now. Why do I keep saying right now? We're talking about something that's happening in the future. Technically, there is no linear time, so it is all happening simultaneously, depending on our perspective. Okay, so we won't worry about that. So how we interact with these energies of restlessness that we are experiencing, how we interact with these energies of things within us being the chaos of new aspects within us being born, and how not being born, but being that spark. They haven't been born yet. It's the uncertainty of the. Oh, this is so interesting. Let me see if I can bring this into words. It is throughout this retrograde period, both with Sagittarius and Scorpio, it'll be interacting in two different ways with these energies, because Sagittarius is a fire sign and has specific archetype. Scorpio is a water sign, has its own specific archetype. But generally speaking, this is about how we interact with these new aspects of self that we have initiated, but can feel chaotic to some degree because not all of them have had the opportunity to be expressed. And so the invitation during this period is to allow yourself to allow these aspects to well up, allow them to, I'm hearing, take the lead, or to be the ones that are making choices that you're listening to their voices, these new aspects and these new parts that have, aspects and energies within you that are still rising up to coalesce and to integrate into the whole of you in this new now you. These are aspects that it's not that they're totally brand new, but these are aspects that haven't fully integrated into the new now you. And it's this Mercury retrograde period that is allowing the opportunity for them to step forward, for them. And, you're aware of their presence, but there haven't been opportunities for you to put them into play. There haven't been opportunities necessarily for you to put them into action, for them to step forward, to make these new choices from this, from the new energies that they express, that they are. So you will encounter opportunities during Mercury retrograde that give these aspects the opening to speak, to express. And it's with that speaking, it's with that expression that they become integrated into the new now you. Now, there is also the opportunity for you to not allow them to express, for you to not allow them to step forward. So being very aware and intentional of when you feel that restlessness, because this restlessness energy is going to be a key indicator for us during this time, that there is that new, it gives an energy of chaos. That's how it feels, but it's not chaos in the sense of destruction and without purpose. It's chaos in that it has not fully merged into and integrated into the whole of you. Okay. Oh, very interesting. That was very interesting. Let's see. I talked about that way longer than I thought I talked about it. Let's pull some cards, shall we? Yes, let's. Okay. I wasn't planning on. We'll use this deck. My hand rested upon it. Life, Soul, Vision. I'm going to just set my journal out to the side here. And I'll actually shuffle on it because it might mute the sound a little bit so it's not quite so loud in the microphone. A couple of things while I'm doing this, I wanted to mention to you guys is there is a heart expansion activation and light language transmission that is available on the website. I will put the link in the description box. If you've seen the reading about the heart expansion and the confluence with the amplification of the protons within our cells, this light language transmission and activation is in support of that expansion and the expansion and the change in the toroidal field of the heart. So I will put that in the description box. In addition, the membership is open. Yay! So if you are interested in checking that out, I will also put that in the description box. And just as a reminder, the activations and transmissions and meditations are included in the membership. So basically the membership with 1 or 2 activations or transmissions, it pays for itself. So, okay. Oh my, we just got this card the other day. It's the same card. This is what we had the other day. The Rainbow Dragon and the Wild Rose. Yeah, this is just from the last, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it's coming out again. Well, I mean, we talked about aspect. Okay, so go and look at yesterday's reading, yesterday's message, because it's obviously linked, and I can't remember outside of getting this card what was talked about. Now, I know we talked about the chakras and how they're aligned. There was something about protecting that. So I would definitely, if this is resonating for you, I would definitely go check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. I'll actually link it at the end of this video so it's easier for you to find. I don't even know what to say about this card. I feel like everything that's so interesting. It's like it just wants me to show you. Just purely pay attention to this image. The Taurus full moon. That happens either on November 5th or November 6th. Look at that. It's card number 56. And what did I just say? November 11. Okay, that's what we're talking about. There's something very important about November 5th and 6th, or 6th. Okay, no, they're correcting me. November 5th and 6th in this process. Now, that is just before the retrograde officially begins on the 9th. What's card 20? Because I'm drawn to the 20 on November 9th. Just the number, the numerology. Let me look and see if there's something in here. I kind of got stuck on card number 11. That's the third eye chakra card. Let's see if I can find it. Card 20. Give me just a second, guys. Oh my gosh. And I saw this as I was shuffling. I noticed this particular card. My other favorite card. Spirit Lion. Spiritual strength. But I'm really drawn also to the connection between the energy of the Sirian. They're saying the Sirian Collective and the Lyran Collective. Interesting. They've never referred to them in that way. And what did I say about the key? Look at, he's got a lock right there in his third eye. And then the card 11 is the third eye. Okay. I don't know what is going on astrologically outside of the full moon in Taurus, but in regards to Sirius and the star Vega, because that Vega is in the Lyra constellation, but I'm getting a huge hit on those two stars. Okay, give me a second. Let's do the Starseed Oracle. There's also, in regards to spiritual strength, that is a part of this process that we talked about of the the bringing together of those other aspects that have not had the opportunity to be expressed or to take the lead, to step forward. I'm hearing to claim their space within you. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're so a couple of things. There's hold on a second. I'm getting several things at the same time, so let's stick with one at a time at least. Okay, so let me start again here. We're asking about the importance of why they were the Lyran and the Sirian collectives were coming through. So what is that importance around November 5th and 6th? Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I've got major chills. Look at this. Messenger. Do you see what it says at the bottom? Serious energy, bringing harmony and balance. Y'all. Ooh, wow. I'm kind of at a loss for words with that. Again, they just want you to look at the image. Look at the image. There's something, you may want to pause this because it feels like there are specific messages for each of you within this card. This card is this is the messenger, but there is whatever symbol, and it doesn't have to be like a traditional or readily identified symbol within this card, like a specific symbol, but whatever sort of symbolism speaks to you in this card, there is a hint in that as to the message from the Sirians or the Lyrans that will come to you around November 5th, 6th. I keep seeing you sitting underneath the stars. So if you feel called to do that, I would definitely encourage you to spend some time outside under the night sky during that time frame, because there are messages coming from Sirius. There's also the Lyrans are very strongly here as well and speaking on this, and they're showing me Vega. So either whichever resonates for you, whether it's turning towards Sirius, whether it's turning towards Vega, and you don't have to, if you can't see them, it's not necessary to see the star. Just turning in that direction. There are messages coming then. And bringing harmony and balance. This is what is helping to integrate those aspects. It's helping you to hear them fully as well, because there is a sense of those aspects. Even though you're aware of them, their voice has been diminished somewhat. And now, more than ever, is it important for all of us to be speaking from a place of wholeness of self and full authenticity. And it's not to say that you've intentionally not allowed those aspects to speak. I mean, maybe that is the case, but if that's the case, there's no judgment there either. But the other part of this is now you're being encouraged also to recognize that it's safe to allow those aspects to speak. Oh, this is really powerful. Really powerful. I'm really struck by the why can't I get this right? The similarity in the color shading here. I know it's not exactly the same, but the energy of those two cards is feeling very similar. Okay, so what was the other thing we were going to ask about? Now I've forgotten because I'm kind of shocked by it. What was the other thing that was coming through? November 5th and 6th, Sirian and Lyran. There was something else. Spiritual strength. Okay, no, they're saying that was it. That was the thread that was the most important. Okay. Wow, how have we been talking for 30 minutes already? Holy cow. Okay, is there anything else? Oh, let's do an alchemy card because we talked about alchemizing the restlessness. That was the other thing. Okay. Alchemizing the restlessness, and this helps to it helps us to be able to hear those aspects of self that are needing space to speak and to lead. It's more than just speak. It's to express with a full voice, I'm hearing. And oh, look at this. Look at what's on the bottom. And now they don't want to shuffle anymore. They play. Just look at the image. What did I say? Express with a full voice. And look, it's a lion. Okay, I'm going to leave that card out. They're saying leave that card out. Okay. Just because we've already gotten that from that, what the message was. It's further confirmation of what I was just saying. Express with a full voice. Allowing those aspects to express with a full voice. Okay, so how do we alchemize the restlessness? What energy is supportive of alchemizing the restlessness? Neptune. It's card number 9. And it just reminds me of what I just said about being underneath the night sky. Well, Neptune can be about illusions, and we did just talk about Neptune. Was it in the last video? It might have been. I think it was, because Neptune has moved back into Pisces. But Neptune is... We have a lot of planets in retrograde right now. We're getting a lot of review time, a lot of reflection time, a lot of time to put the pieces together. Because we've cleared off so much dust off the board and so many things that kept the pieces from fitting tightly together to become a whole and coherent or a coherent whole. Neptune is also about, well, it's water energy. So there's, Neptune's not associated with the sign of Scorpio, but is also water energy. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. But what I was going to say is it's associated with dreams. It's associated with the subconscious. It's associated with things below the surface, the unseen realms. It's associated with psychic abilities and intuitive abilities. So this is how we alchemize the restlessness, by connecting in to our intuition and to your inner knowing and trusting in that. This is this, I still can't, this message from the divine, and from the Galactics, the messenger, as well. Okay, I'm going to have to look at the dates for that R2 Swan interstellar object, because I'm getting a hit on that associated with those dates of November 5th and 6th. And downloads coming from it. Interesting. So I'll have to look into that feel into that a little bit more, and maybe we'll get some more information on that. I know I said at one point when I was talking about 3i Atlas that more information on that, the R2 Swan, was coming. And I haven't received anything else on it yet, so that might be coming soon. These yellow streams of incoming information, messages, this feels like from the divine, and from your higher self as well. But this is how it's alchemized. All right, let's look at the book just for a second to see. And I open right to it, right to Neptune. Let's see what... Yeah, divinity, mysticism, and seeking. When the Neptune card appears, the seeker archetype is activated and doorways to new dimensions open. A voice whispers from beyond the earthly plane, perhaps calling you to a pilgrimage or a new spiritual practice, or you may experience a meditative bliss beyond your wildest dreams. Divinity has arrived, whether you call it nirvana, samadhi, enlightenment, or just good old serenity. Amidst your spiritual awakening, remember that ultimately the work is not about you. The work is about what's bigger than you. Stay grounded in that reality, and you're likely to avoid Neptune's pitfalls of narcissism and escapism. Pick up a spiritual text that you haven't read in a while. Reread it as if for the first time. What else? Yeah, I feel like this is speaking about that divine download and connecting into your spiritual practice to alchemize that restlessness, connecting into the divine within you, and being the seeker. In this regard, being the seeker is referring to seeking within. And so looking within to determine and to feel into that restlessness, to go a little bit deeper to see what it's telling you. Now, the guides have already shared what it's telling us. It's telling us that there are things, it's signifying sparks of creation, right? So it's not to allow it to take us down a path of avoidance or distraction, but to allow it to carry us and to alchemize it into creation. And it's with this divine and connection to the divine that allows us to take that path of it's as if they're showing it in two ways. They're showing me a path with a lot of twists and turns, and they're showing me a path that is fairly straight. And so when we recognize what that restlessness energy is signifying to us, and then we tap into our own divinity and tap into connection with source, then we are able to stay on that aligned path. Notice how all of these are aligned together. Stay on that aligned path, and that's the path in which the restlessness energy helps to fuel us, and rather than to lead us off the path. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is longer than I expected. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I hope you found this helpful. Again, I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel if you have, for all your likes and comments. If you have not subscribed and you enjoyed this message and this reading, please be sure to hit the subscribe button below, and look for the link for the membership as well as that activation I mentioned in the description box. And otherwise, I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you.